What's up everybody, it's Carl, aka Carl Drum Tech. I'm here right now in Torrance, California, and behind me is the Torrance Cultural Arts Center. We also got the James Armstrong Theater, like a center of the arts and performance, and it has a lot of great memories for me because I have grown up here in Torrance. But before we get into this video, alright, if you guys end up liking this video, please do me a huge favor and hit that like button. I would really appreciate that, alright? And if you have any questions or comments, hopefully you're developing those questions and comments along the way, leave them in the comments below, alright? And if you have not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. Subscribe right now. If you're watching my videos and you're not subscribed, stop it, lurker. Hit that subscribe button so you know when you get the new videos, alright? So when the new videos come out, you know, hey, there's a new video. I can watch that right now, alright? So, cool. Now, let's get into today's video. So what I want to talk about today is basically marching band and everybody starting to get into that mode, right? High school marching band season, band camps and things like that. But I also want to quickly acknowledge the fact that we just finished the drum corps season, and I want to give props to the champions, the Blue Devils, right? And at the same time, I got a lot of questions as far as like, because everybody's hyped, right? Everybody's hyped for drum corps, and it's like, oh man, drum corps is awesome, so cool, I want to join that. And then they ask me questions like, Carl, how do you get into the drum corps? Okay, well, there's a lot to it, but you can also break it down very simply, especially if you don't know how to get to drum corps, right? How do you, somebody who doesn't have experience, what's the process to get into the drum corps? You know, how do you get to that point? Well, if you don't know exactly how to get there, you have to think about it in a very, number one, ask me, okay? That's why I'm gonna give you the answer. But try to think of it like as if you didn't have me. And how would you figure out how to get to that point? Well, there's a process called reverse engineering, okay? So what is reverse engineering? Basically, you're taking a look at something, right? Let's say, you know, drum corps, right? People who march drum corps, people who are doctors, people who are successful business people, okay? Think about how they got to that point, and then reverse engineer how they got there. And reverse engineering it means that you're going to break down all the steps that they took to get there backwards, okay? So for example, let's take a doctor, okay? How did they become a doctor? I don't know anything about being a doctor, but let's see. Let me try to logically think about how they got there. Let me try to intuitively figure out how they got to that point, okay? So before they became a doctor, right before that, they probably graduated from med school, all right? Before they got into med school, they probably went to some kind of four-year college and got a degree. Before that, they probably, you know, were like in high school, and they were really studious. They were really on top of their grades. They were very good students. And they also had, and before that, maybe they were growing up, they were kids, they had an interest in physiology, they had an interest in anatomy, they had an interest in science, and then they excelled in those subjects, all right? So, there you go. I just reverse engineered how to become a doctor. Like I said, even though I have no idea how they got there, like that's probably a good basic idea of how they got there, right? So if you are young and you're thinking, I want to be a doctor, well, we just reverse engineered how we get there, okay? So you're young, okay, how do I become a doctor? Well, I need to be into physiology, I need to be into anatomy, I need to be into science, I need to be all in those subjects. When I go to school, I need to make sure that I am very good with my grades, I do my homework, I excel on all my tests, and then I apply to a four-year college, right? So you go to four-year college, you take courses that are relevant to your the medical field that you want to get into, and then apply to a medical school and hopefully get into medical school, graduate, then hopefully you become a doctor. So does that make sense, right? It's like we're basically breaking down how we get to this point, right? And then go backwards, right? And then now we know all the steps, so we can start taking them. Does that make sense? All right. So now let's reverse engineer how to get into a drum corps. Take a look at the typical drum corps person. Okay. So they have mad chops, right? They read really well, and then they march really well also. So how did they get to that point? Well, before they got into drum corps, they probably were in a high school marching band program. In their marching band program, they were probably, you know, one of the best students there. If not, maybe like they definitely tried to be one of the best, and maybe they were up there, right? One of the best, okay? And they also were probably watching a lot of drum corps videos, all right? So watching a lot of drum corps videos on YouTube, taking a look at their favorite drum corps, figure out, like, reverse engineering, basically, again, there's that term, right? Reverse engineering that drum corps technique. They're copying it, they're learning it. What about the beats? They're either trying to learn how to play it on the spot, or they find transcriptions online to figure out the notes, to figure out, you know, how it's written. They read it, they learn it, or maybe the exercises are available online. Some corps sell their warm-up packet online that you can probably buy, and then you can learn it, and then you can play it, hopefully on auditions, right? And then, right, in their high school marching band program, they are maxing out every single drill set. They're maxing out all the beats that they play. They are working together with their group in a very positive way. All those things, right, are gonna lend itself well to get into drum corps. And now we've just reverse engineered how to get to drum corps. Does that make sense? So if you don't know how to get there, again, reverse engineer how people who are doing drum corps right now, how they got there, break it down, work your way back, and then work your way up, because now you know the steps when you start to go up, right? Because before you didn't know, okay? But if you reverse engineer it, now you know the steps. So let's say you are in a high school marching band program right now. You want to get into drum corps. So based on the reverse engineer technique that I just showed you, what do you need to do? Well, you need to make sure that you are one of the best, if not trying to be one of the best in your program right now. You're taking everything seriously. You are maxing out every single set. You're maxing out every single note that you play. You're trying to play clean on every single rep, and you are determined. You are like hyper focused on making that happen, right? You are learning your music as fast as possible. You're learning your drill sets as fast as possible. You are maxing out the technique, the marching technique, so you can march really well. You're making sure that you can play your beats on time, and you can mark time and never get off step. These are the things, right, the drum corps people can absolutely do. So if you are not good with those things, guess where the best training ground is for you? In your own program that you are in right now, okay? So it doesn't matter what kind of staff you have, doesn't matter what kind of resources you have, control what you can control, which is your level of effort and your level of creativity in terms of how you're gonna make yourself better. Don't just put in your staff like, you know, well, our staff sucks, you know, like they don't have drum corps experience or blah, 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 blah. There's people who march drum corps without like experienced staff, or, you know, staff members who march drum corps or whatever the case may be. And there are people who have staffs that were in drum corps and are experienced, and then there are students who don't make anything of it and they don't march drum corps, or maybe they can't or whatever. They just didn't take in the lessons that were being offered to them. Does that make sense? Okay, so if you really want to make it happen, reverse engineer how you get there, and then take the steps necessary to get to that point. And like I said, if you are young, you're trying to learn how to get into drum corps, it starts right now. Your training ground is your program that you are in right now, okay? So that's all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you guys got a lot out of it. If you did, I would really, really appreciate it if you shared this with somebody else. Maybe you have other people you know of that are like really interested in drum corps. They want to get into it, but they just don't know how. Tell them about this video. Show them this video and tell them that there's a process called reverse engineering, okay? And that's how you figure out how to get somewhere where you don't exactly know how to get there, but you try to use your intuition, you try to think of it in a logical way, and then you can kind of figure out how to get there. And then along the way, you'll figure out like whatever gaps that you're missing in the information, you'll figure it out, right? Maybe down the line you want to be a successful entrepreneur or a business person. Maybe you do want to be a doctor one day. Reverse engineer how they got there, do your homework, right? Fill in the gaps that you don't know, and then take the necessary steps, and then you will get there, all right? Reverse engineering, remember that, that's huge. It's used in a lot of different circles, like, you know, whether that's self-development, business, or, you know, just in the real world in general. So learn that term, it's gonna serve you really well, okay? You have to be smart about certain things. You have to like really try to not just sit there and be like, well, I don't know what to do. Figure it out. It's called being resourceful, and also being very intelligent about how you make something happen, okay? So thank you guys again for watching this video. Hopefully you guys found this useful. I'll see you guys in the next one, and peace out, take care, have a great band camp, enjoy your marching band season. You'll hear from me again, and catch you later.